Call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the regular session of the Black Mountain Town Board of Aldermen for March. This time I would ask you to please turn off your telephones and your beepers. Also remind you that our meeting tonight will be televised every Sunday during the month at 8 o'clock on Sunday evening. This time I'd like for us to stand and do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we welcome Reverend Dan Snyder, Minister of Music at Swanville First Baptist Church. Then he'll lead us in our invocation.
May we pray. Our Father, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, the only name that is worth worshiping and all that we have ever needed is found in that most matchless name. We come to Thee thanking You for this day, for the blessings of it, for the challenges this day has brought, for the tender moments of Your presence as You have come to our minds as we have sensed You in the beauty of Your world. For every thought of You that came to us in our quiet moments, and for our every need of Thee that brought us back to You in prayer. As we come to You now, we pray Your blessings upon this meeting with our city officials and upon our mayor, the Honorable Carr Bartlett. Lord Jesus, bless all who serve us and who have dedicated themselves to the ministry of others. Bless our city that we love so much. In the strong name of Jesus, who has called all of us to be servants. Amen.
Please be seated. Reverend Snyder, you want to tell us about your passion play coming up?
I'll be happy to, Mayor Bartlett. The First Baptist Church of Swannanoa at 503 Park Street will present its annual passion play. It's entitled, Behold He Comes. There will be 6 presentations beginning this weekend, March the 15th and 16th at 7 p.m., and then a Sunday matinee on March the 17th at 3 p.m. And then we'll repeat the following next weekend, March the 22nd and 23rd at 7 p.m., and then again the Sunday matinee, which will be the last performance on March the 24th. Call to reserve your seats. Tickets are free, and a love offering will be taken. This year's Passion Play uses dialogue, song, still images, and video to present Old Testament prophecy with a brand new presentation of the story of Jesus' ministry, His crucifixion and resurrection. The script illustrates how Jesus intentionally fulfilled prophecy throughout His life, with His death on the cross, to His glorious resurrection, and to His ultimate goal, salvation for every person. First Baptist of Swannanoa has consistently looked upon the Passion Play as an Easter gift to the community. It is not the work of one, but of many, who volunteer their time and talents in ways that can make the play a reality. However, one constant remains in each presentation, and that is the desire to lift up and honor our Lord Jesus Christ. Everyone is welcome. For further information, you can call the church office, 828-686-5123, or visit our website, fbcswannanoa.org. Also, child care will be provided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll ask Steve Padgett to come forward. Steve has an award and some recognition for one of our officers, along with Johnny Raines, one of our sergeants.
Yeah. Before I present this, I'd just like to say a little bit about David. I'll tell you what, a.k.a. Papaw. He's kind of been a grandfather to all of us. So that's probably one of the most kind-hearted individuals I've ever met. And it shows. After 22 years of volunteering service back to our community, make our community better, and also to make an impact on the police department, which he made a very positive impact. And and I'd just like to thank him for that. So I want to present this to Officer David Bartlett in appreciation of your dedication and service to the Black Mountain Police Department and to the citizens of the Black Mountain from March 26, 1991 to February 11, 2013. This is a retirement award. We're going to miss him. We want him to continue to come around. And congratulations. And I hope you have a great retirement.
I'd just like to say that I've worked with Dave now for 23 years. Steve, I guess he's going to start saying AKA he's grandpa to me now, but as young as I am. But anyway, no, I've enjoyed working with David. He's contributed a lot to this town, this community, and we're very grateful to have had him on the reserve for this many years and all his contributions he's made to this town and community. And as Steve would say, David, congratulations. We hate to lose, but enjoy your time off, and hopefully you can go fishing or something.
Thank you. It's an honor to get this. It's been an honor to work for the town of Buncombe. I've met many friends. I've got lots of friends that I didn't have before, and I like to serve the people of Black Mountain, and I just want to say thank you. It's an honor for me to take this part, and appreciation of everything y'all have done.
Thank you, David, and good luck in your retirement. Godspeed. This time we'll have citizen comments. Ruth Brandy.
I'll find my note first. Ruth Brandon, 722 Laurel Avenue. I have a couple of items to address tonight. First is to say that last Thursday, I attended the popular once-a-month meeting held by Alderman Carlos Showers at the library. Carlos holds these informal meetings in response to some citizen requests for this type of a meeting with any of the board members, where they could ask questions about town concerns in a more relaxed setting than at a town board meeting. Those attending these meetings have very valid concerns, ranging anywhere from broken sidewalks to zoning laws to the golf course to town board behavior, just the whole range of things. At the end of the last meeting, Carlos announced he is running for re-election in November, and that announcement was a real crowd pleaser. And no, Carlos did not know I was going to say this until 5 minutes ago, and I expected him to hit me, but he didn't. Secondly, a few days ago, I attended a special call meeting in this room where Alderman Collins, Rayburn, and Showers voted no to a request from Tom Gill, representing the Town Square Committee, asking the town to pay for even more expenditures. I believe Carl said in the vicinity of $10,000 to $12,000 to remove some asphalt from the town square. On top of the almost $3 million for which we, the taxpayers, are already indebted to pay for the purchase of this small piece, this big piece of property, well known, it's even known now, it was well known as the town square. These three aldermen kept their campaign promise of being good stewards of the taxpayers' hard-earned dollars, and I thank you for voting no. Later in the meeting, these same aldermen voted yes to a motion by Don Collins that the town go ahead with this request, since the Town Square Committee had already made some commitments and had, according to Tom Gill, only $120,000 to $125,000 in the bank. But this motion by Don was made on one condition, and one condition only, that the Town Square Committee would reimburse the town for all monies spent for them. This again was a 3-2 vote, and I personally am most appreciative of it. I want to make it clear that these aldermen who were voting, they were not voting against the Town Square project. They were simply being good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. I have been there, you know, board members. For 16 years, I sat on this board, and I know that while some decisions are tough, really tough to make, it really is not hard to do what is right for all the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Lane Witzenheiser?
Elaine Watson-Heiser, 410 Avena Road. I have 2 items. I would like to suggest that any more action proposed for the town square be brought to a regular meeting when the tape is running that records these meetings and the actions that the board takes, and that none of them come before a special meeting anymore for whatever purpose. The other thing is, when you all discussed the few budget items after the agenda meeting, the special meeting the other day, Alderman Sobel wants to again pay off the, what's the people running the golf course now? Billy Casper people. He likes to use the word divorce, and he wants to divorce them. That's going to cost us money to get out of that contract, and I don't want to see us spend any more money there. If we've got money to spend, let's reduce the cost on the interest and so forth on the town square much loan.
Thank you. Thank you. Mary Standard?
Thank you. My name is Mary Standard. I live at 118 Shenandoah Terrace in Montreat. And I would like to update you on the proposed Ridgecrest Solar Farm project. Much has happened within the past week. On Monday, March the 4th, Energy, a company in New Mexico, filed for a 15-day delay in the March 27th public hearing on its application to build a 200-acre solar farm on the Lifeway Ridgecrest property. On Wednesday, March the 6th, the Asheville Citizen-Times and the Black Mountain News ran an article, "Plug Pulled on Ridgecrest Solar Project," indicating that Lifeway was no longer interested in moving forward with the project. On Friday, March the 8th, the North Carolina Utilities Commission issued an order canceling the March 27th public hearing. However, and this is a big however, the application has not been withdrawn, and the Utilities Commission has instead granted Energy an additional 30 days until April 8th to declare its intention to proceed with or to withdraw its application. As Lifeway Ridgecrest has publicly stated and published that they are no longer interested in the project, it was somewhat surprising that Energy asked for additional time rather than asking that its application be withdrawn. Hopefully, we will find out on March the 8th just what Energy's final decision will be. As long as the application is still active, while the lights may be dimming, the plug has not been pulled. I want to thank you for your interest here in the Black Mountain community, and either I or another member of the Buncombe for Responsible Solar will keep you plugged in and updated. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Jack Buchanan, Chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission. Jack?
This is our annual report for the Town Historic Preservation Commission. The purpose of the Historic Preservation Committee is to assist the Board of Aldermen in preserving and raising awareness of the structures of local, state, and federal significance, historical significance. The Commission's responsibility includes recommending designated areas for historic districts or individual structures, building sites, areas and objects to be designated as landmarks, including the proposal for alterations, demolition, and new construction within the regulatory downtown historic district, and educating the community about the town's historic structures. We had, over the last 12 months, we had 6 staff approvals and small minor work approvals that were changes in signs, awnings, and repairs. We had 1 staff approval of the solar panels placed on the Tyson's furniture, and we had 1 application for a certificate of appropriateness for the exterior of the Swananoa Valley Historical Museum on State Street. The Commission members attended work sessions presented by Stacy Merton, Director of the Historical Commission in Asheville and Buncombe County on April the 18th. These discussions covered preservation issues, challenges to quasi-judicial hearings, finding of fact in those hearings, historical district guidelines, and ordinances relating to historic preservation, certification of appropriateness, and examining evidence presented at those hearings. The Commission members and staff fulfilled training requirements to maintain the certification local government standing for the town of Black Mountain while participating in workshops on June 20th and September 20th. Both seminars covered topics relating to historical culture, architecture, preservation, federal tax credits, and rehabilitation to historic buildings, standards, and rehabilitation. The Commission looks forward to continuing its efforts in the coming year, working with the Board of Aldermen to maintain historic preservation in the town of Black Mountain. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer it, but that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Jack. I know the majority of the board is concerned about the tax valuations on the downtown property. I don't know if you've been confronted with that, but we're in the process of drafting a letter to the tax board that we think it should be reevaluated. It's too high.
Yeah.
That it's certainly out of line. So we think that should be addressed. They are addressing it, but
Yeah.
I want the property owners to know that the majority of this board stands behind it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bob McMurray, the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I'm glad to be up here tonight giving you a little report on the Chamber of Commerce progress for the year. We hope to have a TV presentation on the big screen, but Darlene tells me that this screen's not working, so we'll try to muddle through and make sure it goes well. This is our 90th year of the Black Mountain Swananoa Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber, and looking back at the history, has always worked with the town of Black Mountain and the board for many projects. Early in the 20s, they named the city the Key City, and the Chamber suggested that the town start a newspaper, and they had some plans to plant a lake in Black Mountain and also for a tourist camp. And then the Chamber has also been involved with the town in the Governor of Excellence Award in the 80s, developed a visitor center from the old ABC store. We held a vision conference in Blue Ridge Assembly in the 90s with over 100 attending. Our Valley, Our Future, a blueprint for the 21st century was the title of that conference. And some of those committees are still working today, like that we started at that conference, like the Tailgate Market, the Beautification Committee, Trail and Greenways Committee, and then the Black Mountain Ski Challenge, which became the Black Mountain Marathon, and then the Mount Mitchell Challenge, which goes on today. We just had a good race just a couple of weeks ago. Okay, next slide. This is a kind of a general budget of the Chamber's budget. We operate under a $162,980 budget for the year. We spend money, we take in money on marketing, special events, membership dues. We receive $6,000 from the town, which we're grateful for. We have retail sales there at the chamber, and we have a Lib Harper Scholarship Fund, which we have, we give $1,000 each year for the Lib Harper Scholarship Fund, and hopefully, maybe by next year, we can do two $1,000 scholarship, Lib Harper Scholarship Funds. We'll spend $30,000 on marketing, our visitor center operations, heat, lights, water, management, all that goes into running the visitor center is $61,000. We spend $24,000 on our special events, chamber expenses of $40,000, retail sales, and then our scholarship expenses out. So that's just a general budget. Our budget from July 1 through June 20th is $162,980.
Before you go on, Bob, let me ask you a question on that. The TDA, is that TDA, whatever little, we get some TDA money, right?
Yeah, they pay us for some postage and for some phone expenses.
Does that go in under marketing?
Some of that is in marketing income that we'll get for postage and phone bill. And this year, as you'll see later in the slide, they'll spend about $30,000 in direct advertising that doesn't flow through our budget, like for ads and.
So it's not included in this?
That's not included in this budget. Our visitor center is unique, and it's a 1918 coffee house, the McGraw Coffee House. In 2012, we had 24,221 walk-in visitors that we count each one with a hand counter. We answered 7,589 phone calls, mailed out $7,785 in postage worth of visitor guides and relocation packets, answered 1,780 email visitor requests. Our visitor center has about 480 well-trained volunteers that make our center unique, and of all other chambers are envious of our volunteer program at the Black Mountain Swannanoa Chamber of Commerce. None can compare with the volunteer staff that we have. All want to know how we do it and how successful it is for visitors from outside to come and talk to our visitors of why did you move here? Why do you like living here? Just answering those questions are just important. Our visitors come from, in order, first North Carolina, second Florida, third South Carolina, fourth Tennessee, fifth Georgia, sixth Virginia, and seventh Texas. We get visitors from all 50 states and a large number of foreign visitors. Why do visitors come to Black Mountain? Family and friends. Some just stop by, see the name on the billboard. They get online information, came to our town. They saw us on a map, or they came for a conference. Some of the comments people have made in our directory that we have at the chamber are, years ago we danced at the old farmer's ball. I believe this town has a great future. Love your town, and we'll be back. Awesome welcome, thank you. Next slide. This is a slide of our website, exploreblackmountain.com. We developed this website in 1994. It's been online for nearly 20 years. Probably had several millions of people seeing the Black Mountain website. We average 900 visitors a day on the website. That's unique visitors, that's not just hits, that's people looking at Black Mountain for information. 160,000 visitors per year. Our website has, as you can see, on a community calendar that we update every day for the whole community. We have links to any possible thing in town you could imagine. The town has a link there. We have links to all of our events. People can register for events on our website. And they can request a visitor guide on the website. And then from that request, we mail our visitor guide. Here's a copy of last year's visitor guide. We're working on a new visitor guide, which will be out in the fall. This will be our 6th edition of our color, full 52-page visitor guide. It tells all about our community. It's distributed at all our interstate visitor centers have our visitor guide. The Asheville Visitor Center has our visitor guide, and of course we have them at our visitor center. We get requests from phone and from the website. And we mail out about an average of 5 to 10 a day. You know, it just depends on the time of year, visitor guides. This is our Black Mountain app that we developed last year. This is the new technology. People with smartphone users with Android or iPhone can download our app at BLK MTN app, and on our app you can get our calendar of events, see our webcam on Cherry Street, get all of our member locations, find out where to eat, what time restaurants close. It's just great information. People come to town to be able to use their smartphones for that information. We also use a QR code. We think we're the first chamber in the United States to use a QR code as part of our member decal. You might have seen some of our member decals on windows in town. People can scan that QR code and go to our website, find out about the town, find out about information about our community from the QR code. This is a billboard that we've put up on I-40 going west to celebrate and to announce the Little Town That Rocks, our new advertising campaign. You can go to that website. Businesses and individuals will be able to sponsor a rocking chair for $100. We have a group of artists that will paint them, very creative paint according to what people want them painted as. We'll have the chairs distributed all over town. We'll have them in groups. They'll be anchored down with chains so they won't walk away. And
rock away.
Rock away, that's right. So that's going to be a great event for us to have the Little Town That Rocks as a campaign. In the fall, we'll auction off the rocking chairs and all the money will go to this town square project. We think we can use, we also hope to plan some shop and rock things downtown on Cherry Street and just all kinds of events we can do with the Little Town That Rocks campaign. Our Sourwood Festival, this will be our 36th annual Sourwood Festival. This year we hope to expand our festival all the way down Terry Estate Drive to Terry Estate Drive on Vance to give us some more space. And the folks at the Fabric Outlet have requested us move the festival down there to help their business. And we'll gain a few more booth spaces. We've been turning down a lot of folks that want to get in the festival. We average about 30,000 people a year. It's about one of the largest festivals now in Western North Carolina. Showcase Black Mountain to the world, and also a lot of our nonprofits like the Owen Band Boosters, churches, sell items and barbecue to make money at our Sourwood Festival. And next year we're planning a new event we hope to call the Great American Outdoor Festival, which will be highlighting our outdoor activities, hiking, running, biking, fishing, golf, and much more. That'll be in April of 2014, and you'll hear more about that later. This is a slide of a full-page ad that'll be part of the Tourism Development's 2013 ad campaign. It'll promote the Little Town That Rocks. You'll love what we've done with the place. Beautiful view of the mountains with Black Mountain in the background and a little shot of downtown. This will be an April-May campaign the TDA is doing. It's a $30,000 campaign. These ads will be in Our State Magazine, Charlotte Magazine, Southern Living. There's also a special co-op advertisement that will be in Blue Ridge Country Magazine that other Black Mountain merchants or businesses can participate in. This campaign will target 1,491,000 people will see these ads about Black Mountain. As one writer put it in an article in the Greenville News about Black Mountain, if you could sell magic, it would be sold here. Does anyone have any questions about it? That's a brief overview. There's a lot the chamber does, and I left out a lot, but.
No, I just wanted just on the TDA.
Yeah.
Each room has a room tax that then goes to the TDA,
Right.
and that's what, approximately $3?
4 cents on every dollar.
4 cents on every dollar.
1 cent of it goes to the special fund for brick and mortar plan that, like the town square has applied for that grant, is where that money comes from. The rest comes from promoting Buncombe County to the outside world, so that's why they'll spend money on outdoor advertisements, like in magazines, national magazines and campaigns. We'll take in close to $75,000 from Black Mountain room tax money. This year we'll get about nearly 50,000 of that back in kind or directly to the chamber, and then the other part, comes to bring people into Buncombe County, which will show up into Black Mountain. So we're doing much better and getting more of our fair share of that dollar back into Black Mountain. And
That sounds like it than
Doug with Red
what it was
Rock
20 years ago.
yeah, Doug at Red Rockers, our board representative on the TDA has done a great job in getting us more funding from the TDA.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good job. Matt, would you like to address the consent agenda?
Sure, thank you. Of course, you've got the adoption of minutes from your agenda workshop and your regular session in February. Then we've got a few budget amendments. I'll go through them. If you'll recall, during the budget process for last year, we budgeted for expenses for the golf course. At the time, we weren't sure whether we needed to do that or not. But we did that in anticipation and had asked our auditors for an opinion on that. They had come back after July and said we were not required to do that and did not need to have that in our budget. We did that though, hedging on the side that we might need to do that. So as a result, we need to go back in and basically reverse those expenses for the golf course. We only need to reflect long-term assets and liabilities on our books, under the current arrangement that we have with the golf course. So we need to make that budget amendment that basically reverses out the operational budget for the golf course that's in our current annual budget. And then, of course, speaking of long-term assets and liabilities, we have a budget amendment to reflect the golf cart purchase that we just recently approved, because the way we're going to do that is finance that through BB&T. The town will finance that. We will show that then as an asset. The golf course will reimburse us for the annual expenses that are associated with that, but we need to show that as a budget amendment with revenues and expenses on our side. Also, we have the irrigation system is an expiring asset or expense that we financed, and we need to reflect that as a budget amendment to show that liability is no longer on the books. And so both of those, the changing out the expenses for the entire operational budget, doing the golf carts, and then the expiring liability for the irrigation system are all budget amendments that we need to reflect. And then, let me go through. Your next item on there is to call for a public hearing for text amendments to update our abandoned nuisance and junk vehicle ordinance. The North Carolina General Statutes has guidelines for how you define junk vehicles. We need to update our ordinance to reflect that properly, so we need to call a public hearing to do that. Also, we have a request here for what amounts to a refundable non-residential and residential permit fee for building inspections. Basically, that is a fee that you get refunded when you call for a final inspection. We have a backlog of final inspection notices that don't ever get called in, and then eventually we come back later, even as much as years later, and notify a property owner or a business owner that they still have a final inspection due for their permits. This is a way to ensure that the final notice is the final inspection is called for and puts that responsibility on the applicant. But it's a refundable fee, $300 for the non-residential and $100 for the residential fee. And then finally, we have a budget amendment to recognize a contribution to the Shenandoah Valley Museum Capital Campaign. If you'll recall, some of you will recall, in 2008, they came to us with a $45,000 request, and we, at that time, granted them $15,000, and to look at the additional $30,000 in future budgets. They had made that request to us. We had initially said we would take a look at maybe $15,000 in this year's budget and $15,000 in next year's budget. Honestly, from our perspective, it's just as wise to go ahead and make that contribution now out of our contingency fund. We're far enough along in the fiscal year that we feel confident that that's a wise move. And then if you want to move in that direction, we would just as soon you make the $30,000 contribution out of this year's budget. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions.
The motion to approve consent items A through G is presented.
So moved.
Any other discussion on it?
Yeah, if I could ask you, Matt, on this has to do with the the budget amendment 5B, for the golf course. And if you turn over to page 2, potential points to consider. At the bottom there, it says track and observe capital assets at the golf course to ensure these items are properly accounted for on at least an annual basis. And then number 4, review and test the financial activity as reported by Billy Casper Golf. I mentioned that number 4 there because sometimes do we know if they are charging us for any items as part of it? Do they add an administration fee to any of their items, or can you tell that from the financial
I
package?
have not seen that yet. I have tested some of their expenditures. I have not seen any kind of fee. I mean, I see the same copy of the invoice from them that they're receiving from the vendor. I haven't looked at every one of their invoices by far, but I have not seen that yet. I can look for that, or
Okay, yeah, I just think it's prudent on our part to double check that.
Right, and I think we've made an effort to, like Dean has said, to take a cross-section of invoices and work those back. I think that's right, isn't it, Dean?
Okay. Thanks.
Any other discussion?
Question, Matt or Dean. According to the motion, Gillian and Gould and Gillian responded to the question on July 7th of 2012, right?
right.
Why is it taking us 8 months to act on it?
That's a good question, and we really could have done this amendment, 6-7 months ago. There's a lot of different amendments that are going on. There's any time in the last 6 months, no time would have been better than others, so.
And I would point out too, this is just it's just a reversing of the expenses, and so it wasn't something that had an immediate impact, and so it just was filtered out longer through the year. But you're correct, it could have been done at any point.
Yeah. And looking back at what's written in the summary, it said that the acting town manager and the finance director felt it prudent at the time to budget for the golf course. I take it that you were very aware of the golf course contract that was drawn up between the town and Billy Casper.
Right.
And where they said that Casper would present to us an annual budget also. So basically we had 2 budgets going on at the same time.
No, well, no, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I would just say we didn't have 2 budgets. I think, and I'll just speak frankly, I think that they offered their budget, and we used that as the model for these expenses. It just basically it just passed through. We took their budget, projected budget numbers, rolled it into our budget that we approved, and so when Gould Killian made their response that we didn't need to do that, then that's all reversing back out. But that's basically Billy Casper Golf projected budget for the upcoming year. We didn't offer a budget for the golf course. I just want to make sure that's accurate, right?
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There is no new business, no unfinished business. Town attorney, do you have anything?
I have nothing, sir.
Town manager?
I have a couple of quick things, and let me just do those. I would first of all, we had talked about Land to Sky offering some planning consulting services for us, and I'm pleased to introduce Linda Giltz and Brian Taylor are both here, and that's who is helping us right now on a part-time basis for planning services. I'm glad to have them here, and I'd like anybody to come by and speak to them sometime during the week when they're here at your leisure. But I did want to introduce them, so thank you. And then a couple other things. We had talked about taking applications for the planning board, because their concern was that even though the term that had expired would expire on July 1st, but their concern was they were going to have a tie. Well, now Buzz Yateman has also resigned. That eliminates the chance of a tie. So there's not as big a concern to have it done immediately. So I would recommend, or at least request, that we continue to take applications and then just run it through the regular process when they would normally be due for appointment. And then finally, we have, the town of Black Mountain, through the help of Darlene, has been nominated, or is a finalist, as a great Main Street and also a great neighborhood for kids through a national program. And if anybody will go to www.greatplacesnc.org, you can vote for the town of Black Mountain. There's a beautiful picture of Cherry Street, a beautiful picture of Lake Tomahawk, and I think that, and I'll try to think of the cities off the top of my head, but I believe it's Chapel Hill, Franklin Street, Hendersonville, Wilmington, maybe Fayetteville, and Black Mountain are the 5 finalists, and it's a People's Choice Award. So I would just encourage folks to go on there, register your vote. You can only vote once, but I would like everybody to do that and see if we can either be considered a great Main Street or a great place for kids. And that's all that I have.
Will you give us that again, please?
I will. Okay. Yeah. Let me just do it. Oh, the deadline also is Friday, so hurry up. But here, so I'm announcing it quickly. I'm sorry. It's www.greatplacesnc.org.
Could you also put that on the web page right now?
It is on our webpage.
It's on the Facebook and it's in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good. Good going.
And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Do the board members want to be recognized for comments?
I'd like to, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
At my meeting the other night, field assessing, I'm glad you're here, Phil, because I don't remember all the details. Would you mind coming up and telling us about the Grow Carolina thing you were telling me about, going to be at the Arboretum?
Linda can correct me, but there have been a series of workshops at the Land and Sky offices and also at the Arboretum, and also a display at the Carver Center put on by this group, Grow Western North Carolina, which is Land and Sky Regional Council that has gotten a grant from HUD to do a plan for how is Western North Carolina supposed to, and here's a word we can't use in the Bible Belt, but I will, evolve. How are we supposed to evolve? What are we going to do beyond oil? What are we going to do when people would rather walk on a greenway than get in their car? The day is coming when we want to restore more of a village life to our towns in Black Mountain. Apartments should have community gardens in them and a bus stop in front of them. These kind of ideas that often meet with a glass eye from politicians and so on are what the common people are thinking. Tomorrow there is another workshop at the Arboretum. I believe that the town of Black Mountain has signed that they are part of the consortium.
Consortium, yes.
And I believe that the town of Black Mountain has decided not to ride on my coattails as affiliated consultants engineers, but to actually send somebody else from the town to the workshops.
Anyone's welcome to go, Bill.
I know. What I mean is, I'm trying to get these ideas that Grow Western North Carolina are coming up with. And I'm begging you, I hope I won't be the only citizen from Black Mountain at that workshop tomorrow.
What time is that?
9 to 1, or 9 to 12. It'll be a great event. There'll be about 100 people there. There's places like Brevard are far ahead of us.
I don't think so, but everybody's got an opinion.
Well, excuse me, far ahead of us as far as participating in workshops and knowing what the thinking of the entire county is. I don't want to argue for who has the nicest downtown. That's not something I'm here to discuss. But Carlos, thank you for the good conversation while us four folk were riding the bus. Sorry I didn't dress for the meeting, but I walked here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
One other thing I want to say. I'm active in Peace and Justice Ministries and so on, Transition Black Mountain, and I want to see the day when decisions are made using total economics, not just bottom line for the investor. But what is the benefit to the town? Little things that are hard to measure in dollar, like is there a benefit to walking on a greenway rather than getting in your car and going to Walmart? Is that a benefit that should be put into our thinking? So when we decide to do things in this town, we have to think of the ordinary citizen and even the poor. We have to think of them when we make town decisions. Thank you.
Any other board member?
No, I just want to make, just to talk about the town square and the fact that we are paying back a little over $2 million to purchase that. But for the citizens to understand that it is not $2 million totally for the town square. It's $2 million for the town square in this building that those of you that are here are sitting in. This building here is probably valued somewhere $750,000, and it is completely paid for. So that is all part of the money that we owe for the town square.
We also got the parking lot in that too, not just. The WLS-TV came out and did a report on Black Mountain and the Certified Entrepreneurial Council, which Bob was part of, continues to be a great part of. Advantage West is also featuring Black Mountain in their annual report. I'm sure all of you are aware that the governor was here. He was very impressed with our merchants downtown and also throughout our community. Took away some ideas that we had, said he's going to steal and use them in other places. Told him to take it, that we're glad to participate in anything that he had to help the economics of our state. And he was really pleased with the merchants once again, and also with small manufacturing that we have here. In regard to the greenways, we do see greenways as an economic development. It's very obvious from some of the companies that I've talked with are impressed with the greenways and with their community being a green town, a green city. And that's large manufacturers that we've talked to with 200, 250 jobs. They continue to be impressed with Black Mountain and what we have to offer. Due to being on TV, we've had two other towns in Buncombe County in western North Carolina, one that's not in the county that's asked to come to Black Mountain and look at what we're doing through the Chamber of Commerce, through the CEC, and through the positive efforts of this board. I think that we are being noticed, not only here, but throughout the state. If there's not anything else, I shall adjourn the meeting. No objection? Meeting adjourned.
the last 4 years due to a combination of neglect by golf course management, not spending any money on the court, and bad weather. The croquet club is willing to pay $3,000 toward the cost of rebuilding this croquet court to a championship level.